Hey guys, it's PatrickStarrr. Welcome back to my channel. So today is going to be a little bit of an interesting video talk through about just on the topic of social media and beauty. I've been wanting to do this, but I didn't know like a certain format, so I thought what better than to just get ready with me with it. Basically, I'm going to an event tonight. I have to do a sponsored post tonight, so I thought I would, just sit and do my makeup and kill 3 birds with 1 stone. Event, work, and a video for you guys. If you guys want to get ready with me, please bust out your makeup. I have my full glam table here. And by the way, I am in my closet. This video will be coming out soon. I did a full closet tour. This used to be Peter's old room when he lived with me. Now he lives in his own place. He has flued the nest. And we're here just to get glam. And I will zoom you guys right up in. And without further ado, let's just jump right into this video. Alright guys, so I drew in my brows off camera, and when I tell you it is so hard to do my brows or fill them in because they're just so uneven to me. Yeah, I just wanted to come on here and talk about social media because I feel like I've been doing it for a while, and to me, I've been able to do this full time and speak to it, and I feel like I've had a lot of success and a lot of people around me that I'm proud to have around me, which result to long career, I think, from as far as what I've established so far. Like, if you guys want to do social media full time, this video is for you. This is for everyone out there that's always wanted to be a YouTuber or be a beauty blogger. And I think with this video today, I'll be scratching the surface. Before I say anything in any of this, there is no degree of success with what we do as YouTubers here. There's no doctorate in beauty. There's no bachelor's in foundation. There's no PhD in wing liner. There's no syllabus or schedule as to how to become a social media success. But I do believe that there are ethics and guidelines that I feel like we could abide by to be successful when it comes to working with brands and working with your followers and understanding one's self. First and foremost, I think when you do social media, you have to be aware, like be socially aware and be aware of yourself. Be self-aware too. I think early on, I really didn't know who I was until other people, at Mac would tell me, oh my god, you should start a YouTube, and I really said to myself, oh really, like who's gonna want to watch, pretty much like a fat ass do makeup? And that's what I thought of myself. And then when I had other people telling me that, I became more confident, and then that's when I started with my first video in February 2013. I have like some notes here on the side that I do want to because I just started typing away here in my notepad. I'm gonna take these off. Obsessed with these eye patches. My beginning piece of advice, I think, if you're gonna start or embark on this career ever, is to make mistakes and make friends. Early on when I started, I really didn't know what to do, but I went in with an open mind because I came from teaching piano, and I understood when I taught my students, you have to unpractice that mistake or make mistakes when it came to the finger or the which key to press on the piano, make those mistakes so and I learned a lot from my career teaching piano and studying classical piano at a young age. I have to play piano for you because I feel like some of y'all don't believe me. So when I was teaching piano, I would record my students, or I would even record myself and play it back. And that was a good way to kind of learn about your technique and your style and your mistakes and the emotions. So having the outside point of view was kind of like being self-aware in music because you're playing it back. And I think sometimes on social media we get so vain, we don't have the time to self-reflect. We just look at our social media and what performs well numerically, but I think it's more than just that. It's more than making the impression, online. It's about what impression you're making in person and communicating those things. We all know that there's those trolls online or those crazy people that we know in our lives that have all this talk, that want to talk so much stuff, especially even if in your family you have that auntie that want to talk so much shit, and then you see her, she don't want to say anything. I think it's about creating, I don't know where I was going with that one. I'm so nervous. I'm not used to speaking like this. Oh yeah, make friends. Like make friends that do this because like, like I said in the beginning, there's no degree or no like classroom where you can kind of do it. There's the classroom of life where you can just find someone like you that's like minded like you. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Trust me, I know. Another example would be like when I met my manager, who I have to this day. Her name is Christina Jones. And I remember when I met her. And I met her with Manny. And I remember I had visited Los Angeles, and I said, I want a manager. And, she had emailed me and said all these things about like what she does and how she works with them. And I realized Manny and I were around like 40 or 50,000 subscribers. And we said, I told him, I had then found a friend, and then I said, let's just do this together. And, it was an exciting time because like I didn't know that this could become a thing. And then when I had met her, and I had discussed, with him and my parents, like, I think I want to do this. We had said, you know what? I had told him and told myself, most importantly, let's make mistakes now than later. So my next thing would be make mistakes now. I think it's important if you're starting. It's like you want everything to be perfect. You want your camera to be perfect. You want your lighting to be perfect. You want the way that you speak to be perfect. You want your outfits to look perfect. But I think that's the beauty in becoming an influencer and becoming a star, is because people want to see you grow. If you think about like the Cinderella effect, from pumpkin to carriage, from damsel in distress to diva, like you have those moments. It's like makeup. You see someone go from like no makeup to like full coverage makeup, and there are millions of people that love to watch that process. And same goes for not just your face, but for your career or from a personal standpoint. People want to see you grow and want to see you win. And it's okay to be vulnerable, and that's where I came up with like life opens up when you do, is people want that. So if you're watching and you're too scared that you're gonna mess up or you don't have the right equipment, you know what, own it and say, you know what, I'm making it work. And I did that. Next, I want to talk about make decisions that will allow you to last longer. Long-term goals. When you're creating content, I think we can always be jaded. I think to this day, like be jaded about money and, self-worth. And I get it, but, if you want to work with a brand, you got to show love to the brand. It's not just about the money. I think also, too, when it comes to you working with brands, you have to work with your followers or your subscribers. So you want to make sure that you're creating an organic relationship or an honest relationship with you and the brand, and also in turn with you and the follower. Because if you just, fuck with the brand and you just try to worry about your money and worry about you, that just shows that you're selfish and you're not worried about the fans, and you're not being honest or genuine about the fans. And I think with all my partnerships on my channel, everything has been organic. Like one of my longtime supporters and I've been a fan of has been Benefit. I was buying Benefit when I had no money, when they had like 4 press powders, and I would buy it, and I would buy their primer, and I would buy their professional at the time. And I was just supporting the brand, and I really loved them. It was easy. It made sense. And then they eventually reached out to me to go to the first ever brand trip that I ever got to attend in the Bahamas. And that was really, really something cool. And it's crazy with Benefit. Years later, I got to be on the Sephora gondola. I got to be a judge for their Benefit Brow Search. I've been in a few different campaigns and different ads with them. And, just the team itself, I'm not just doing it for the clout or for the fame or for the followers, but the brand partnership makes sense. And I use Benefit to this day, literally, with this and the roller liner, the roller mascara, and they're products that I love, that I'm happy to share with my followers. And you guys love them because when you guys get to go in store, it makes sense for you guys to use them. So I think that's another big thing too for me. The next thing for me to talk about would be know the difference between business and personal. And that goes for brands too. If you're a brand and you're watching, know your place, because we find a lot of blurred lines when it comes to be like, oh, she's my friend, or we hang out, and of course they would do this for me. They would do it for you what? For work or for business. And I think that's something that you have to learn how to separate, because when you're on social media, things can be done interchangeably, and there are too many set expectations that are not clear. So you want to make sure that you know the difference between what's personal and what's business. I'll give an example. Like personally, I was working with somebody before, and I remember we were just talking about some place to eat, and this was just kind of like a trial situation. I remember we're all deciding something to eat, and then I had just mentioned something unhealthy, and then the person was like, oh, well, what about this? And then they replied back and said, well, I know no one eats healthy here. And it's like, is it about what you want personally or business? Like, the business is that I'm paying you, and yes, thank you for letting me know, but it just became like blurred lines. Another example would be about personal and business is if you, let's say, happen to not like someone on a certain team, or she doesn't get along with you, or you think that person hates you, you just have to keep it professional at times, because then if you cut things off, you'll start to notice, with my experience over time, a lot of people that work for one brand will jump to another brand. There are so many, only so many roles that go interchangeably. For example, Estee Lauder, there are different brands that work with Estee Lauder, and there are different brands that work with L'Oreal. I know some people that have crossed over from the brand Benefit to Milk, or from L'Oreal to NYX. And a lot of these roles stay within there. So I think you just have to be professional and just be as kind and proactive and genuine as you can be in this industry to get a better rapport for being that professional person. Another example of personal and business is that, like, me and my brother Peter work together all the time, and sometimes it's no secret that Peter will make a mistake or will forget something, and so I have to make sure myself, like, if he was not my brother, how would I talk to him? Like, personally, I would probably yell at him, but business wise, I kind of have to speak to him like, hey, this was messed up. And, we started to develop a better work relationship with each other. I know they say that you shouldn't work with family, but it takes a certain person. This is just my opinion when it comes to work with family. When you guys start to detach generation or work ethic, I think the way that one generation has worked might be different from your generation. Like, for example, I wouldn't have my parents work for social media like me because they don't know this world. I can only teach them so much, but for them to be fashion forward and like forward thinking about the business, that just is what I would, you want to make sure that their resume allows them to work in a business like this if you want to be truly successful. Because then what happens is that you're wasting time training them to understand. Is this weird for you guys? Got powder everywhere. One thing that I noticed, if you guys do meet other influencers, be positive, be magnetic. I think that's something that, not be fake, but just don't go out if you don't feel it. Don't force yourself for something that you don't want to, I notice influencers, I think, that I've met that are younger. This has happened a couple times, and I'll find myself like correcting them. I think you just want to be magnetic, and I think that's what defines a star. Like, when you're tired, don't say that you're tired. And I found some influencers do this, and it's almost like a turn off, because then it's kind of like, hey, let's jump on the I'm tired bandwagon, when that's not really inspirational. And so, like, be a light. Like, talk about what you're working on, talk about what you're doing, be engaged. Ask them what they're doing. Talk about, like, what do they feel that they could work on. And I find myself being that, because you know what? When you're at these events, there's no better place to be to ask and do research than at these events, because that's kind of like the time to kind of like get your Q&A in, so you can kind of like learn and apply for what's working and for that certain influencer, and really apply it to your business and grow. I found myself asking a lot of questions too to marketing people or presidents. Like last week, I had met the founder of IT, and then I met Charlotte Tilbury, and then I met the executives of L'Oreal and Lancome, and I asked them questions like, how do you trust people? how do you balance? How do you, do X, Y, and Z? And I remember when I asked the founder of it, Jamie, I asked her, how do you trust people? And she told me, you know what? I pray. And then I said, oh my God, me too. Like, it's a personal thing. She's like, it's not for everyone, but that's just a personal thing to do. And then I asked her too, how do you balance? And she was like, oh, there is no balance. And I said, well, can I suggest that you probably do? And she asked how. And then I said, when you make time to pray, do you feel like that's you making a decision on finding time for him, to have a moment with him, to find balance and serenity and peace and a center for yourself to make the right decision? And she goes, oh, I've never thought of it that way. And I said, that's, self-care is the best care and personal. So you start to find things about yourself through each other. And that's just something that I'll always continue to do, is ask questions. And I think that's always great. You know what? Don't be asking too many questions, and there's a right time and the place to ask a person. There has to be sort of a banter. So, kind of feel it out. And that way you're not annoying the person, because sometimes not everyone is as open as you or will be as open as you. So you kind of have to gauge that and see if it's the appropriate time to ask those questions. I'm going to go ahead and bake with Banana Light. You know what? Another tip too is always smile. Because it's so crazy for me that has worked. I notice a lot of the makeup, the way that we shape our face and our eyes and the lashes and the contour, we just pull our features up. And you know what? We don't look the most approachable or the most friendly. We end up looking a little bit too fierce or too intimidating. And I've gotten that before. I asked Peter and my friend Fabian, I'm like, hey, do I look intimidating? And they're like, you don't get it. Like, you're so... Sometimes they're like, I don't think I'm intimidating to me. But sometimes my turban and then the heels, and then I'm plus size, so I look like gargantuan, like, in person. And people are too scared to come up and they'll ask me, hi, can I have a hug, or can I talk to you? And I'm like, yeah, sure. But sometimes I could see how that is with the way that, we do ourselves, like, the concealed brows and the arches. It can be a bit much. So I think just smiling and saying hello, always make it a point to say hello before the person says hello to you. And it's just kind of like a trigger to say hi. And this is one thing that personally behind the scenes that I get asked so much is like, I want to move to LA. Like, do I have to move to LA? Like, there's nothing in my city. If you think about it, I think of the great city of Tampa and Florida, for where stars are born. I'm from Orlando, but Tampa particularly have YouTube beauty queens. There's Nicole Guerrero, there's Jaclyn Hill, and there's Promise Fawn, and probably much more beauty icons upcoming in Tampa. Because, to me, off the bat, I'm just going to say, there ain't nothing in Tampa except Ybor City, okay? But, if you think about where they are, in Tampa, they're able to grow and they're able to create and they're able to be in a canvas kind of city, a blank canvas city where they can create and be creative and have peace of mind. And just looking at my history and my past too, as a YouTuber, I grew up on 5 acres. I grew up with no cable, no internet, and hence my imagination was out of this world. And I feel like that's why I had been a little bit MIA from social media, is so I can kind of have less noise and more canvas to create by just living life, going out, looking at art, watching music videos, anything but being on social media, because sometimes it can be really, really cloudy and really, really noisy, which hinders you from creating and growing as an artist. Do you guys like these videos? I hope these videos make sense. And, with everything that I've done, I think just recently, my friend Maya, Shameless Maya, she's asked me, like, you're so big, you've done so much, and can you believe? And I'm just like, sometimes I forget, like, everything that I've done and all the dreams that I have accomplished. And more recently, I've been wanting to be more open with you guys and share the success, because I want to see other plus size brown gay boys win, and also girls. But particularly, if I could be like a leading light to any of you out there, maybe that's what I was put on this earth to do, is to help inspire people that didn't have that, to have a big brother or a big sister or a big sister. I feel like it's important to find your purpose. Guys, I've been really taking care of my skin and I'm obsessed. I just got this laser for darker skin because when it comes to lasering your skin, you can't be using crazy lasers because if it's a light laser, it'll probably attack your melanin and it will probably trigger it, which could cause major hyperpigmentation or damage it, which could cause uneven, you can attack it so hard that the pigment could be just gone and obliterated, and that's not what you want to do. The laser that I use is radio frequency, so it's just a lightless laser that goes and really resurfaces the underlayer of the skin. And I find when I do it, my skin becomes smoother, there's less pores, there's less acne, but of course my skin will come back to that regular state. So I have to continuously work on it and do it again. If you guys want a video on those lasers, let me know. If you guys hate this video, let me know. But I just thought I would just share my life experience with you as I continue to grow older and get more experience and become more self-aware. It's a nice check-in for me to check in with you guys. You know, when I was little, I had a stuttering problem. And because I spoke Tagalog, Ilonggo, and English once I started going to school, so I noticed when I'm like creative or excited to talk about something, I'll find myself stuttering. So in this video, I'm probably cutting out all my stutters because there's just so much to say. I'll mispronounce words or combine words in my head, my own compound words. Oh, but yeah, going back to the point of you don't have to be in LA. Like a lot of those girls have such an imagination, and if you look at when I moved out, yes, it could be helpful, but you're better off creating content, at home and pushing it forth. You don't really have to be in a city where you're just gonna go to event after event after event, because you know what I've noticed, the more events you go to, that's so much time out of your day. Let's just say 2 hours to get ready, then it's 2 to 3 hours at the event, including traveling time and going home time. And then, let's say, people want to go out to eat and go out to the club around those events here in LA. And I know because I've been one of those people, okay? And you want to go back to your place and, just kiki and all this. And by the time you know it, that's like 7, 8 hours of a commitment to hanging out with that person till like 2, 3 in the morning, when you could have been at home creating a viral video that could have gotten 1 million views by not going out, And I realized I didn't move out to LA until I was like, I think 700,000 subscribers on my channel. I was creating content. I was creating content for Instagram and YouTube, and I had just started working with large brands like Clinique and Anastasia and NYX, and again, going back to those long-term partnerships, like I got to speak about my passion for hosting and entertaining, and I got to host the Face Awards 2 years in a row, which was so awesome because it, I think, put me in a place where I was just branching out of beauty, and that's exciting. And I got to do the red carpet for the Grammys and be on E! News. I did the Daily Pop, which is like the E! News show. I got to meet partners like Instagram, but this obviously came later on after I had 1 million, 2 million, 3 million. I know what. Oh, my nail fell off. I was just scratching my head. I'll glue it on. Oh, I know something that influencers, I find, get angry about, when I talk to them, is that some influencers will be like, oh my god, so-and-so, that dumb bitch, whatever, didn't remember me, blah, blah, blah. And I'll be like, honey, like, did you give them something to remember you by? Now that's what you should be mad at. So I think when it comes to leaving your mark as an influencer, whether it's online or in person, create like that persona that's magnetic. Tell a story, create a story, make something personal so that person has something to remember you by. Like for me, I noticed off the bat, it was my turban. It was a silhouette that was totally PatrickStarrr and easy recognizable. It was something that was unique to me. But whenever I would meet people, I would always try to create a story in my head or build something to remember them by. And I remember, meeting, let's just say, I'm an influencer. Like, one that stands out to me is my friend Miriam NYC. I had nothing to relate to her by, but when I met her man, not in that way, but when I met her man, we got to know a little bit more about them and how they got to work together. And he had mentioned that he was a ballet dancer and they met in a talent school. So the next time I met Miriam, I was like, oh my gosh, that I would tell the story for them. I would be like, oh my God, like they met in the talent school and he was this grade and she was this grade, and she was a singer and she is a singer and he's a dancer, and aren't they the cutest thing, So beyond that, I'm able to create a story and remember them just other than being an influencer. And I think that's really important. And that's why Peter dyed his hair purple and blue.
Why?
So people can remember you. And that's why he became vegan. Just kidding.
Cut that out.
Alright guys, I'm going to put on some lashes. These are just some wispy drag lashes that I had. We are going drama today with the lashes. I do want to talk about networking. When it comes to networking, they have to be organic. There is someone at YouTube by the name of Derek Blasberg who is the head of fashion and beauty for YouTube, and I've got to meet him, and I attended the Jeremy Scott fashion show at New York Fashion Week as his date, and I really got to know him. And he's a very, 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 very prominent figure in the fashion and beauty world, and he literally knows everyone. And I read an article about him that he posted on his Instagram when it comes to networking. When you're networking and you think that you're going to go to these events, it's not just about kissing someone's ass, and it's not about just networking, saying hi and bye and trying to shoot your shot at fame. When it comes to networking, he said that it's about creating relationships. And I think when you're an influencer or you're someone professional in the industry, I think that's a good piece of advice to keep when it comes to creating those relationships. Like how I said before about Miriam and Lee, it's just knowing who they are beyond the spectrum of what you know them for. Ask different things, or where they're from, or what they do, and you'll have more of... I find myself being a natural interviewer. Also, when I was on like America's Next Top Model and I brought my friend who is my executive assistant and Peter with me, Tyra was asking questions about them, like, oh, what do you do? Where are you from? What kind of guys do you like? And I just saw her doing that naturally, and I was like, I do that too. I naturally ask questions, so I just don't know them for being that person's assistant. So I think that's one thing about being an influencer that's really, really, really important. Alright guys, so everyone that's watching, I know 100% of you guys don't want to be an influencer, but maybe some of you guys want to be a professional makeup artist or hairstylist or actor or someone. And right next to me is my friend Tony. So Tony is one of my best friends from Max. She was also in my fall campaign, and she just moved here from Orlando, and she just delivered me some Jamaican patties. That's the only reason why she's here. But thank you for coming back in the closet with me.
Of course.
But Tony is a professional makeup artist. Do you have any advice, like, on how, like, I guess just the more of the business side of how to achieve success and making, like, responsible decisions? Because for Tony, like, what I admire about her is, like, you would make decisions like, hey, is my money squared away? Am I gonna move? You're not just gonna go on the fly and do that. So I think when you're doing things, like, for example, I didn't, like, move away from college, and I found, like, all my, like, well, let's just be honest, all my white friends were just like, I'm gonna go to college and join the sorority, and then next thing I know, those bitches are back. Mm-hmm. Like, they're back pregnant or they're back whatever, and they just partied too much and thought they wanted to live this adult life when they weren't really maturing. Mm-hmm. So do you have any advice for people out there as far as your journey on moving, or if they're an influencer, what they could take away?
Oh, as far as, like, moving or
just anything.
I just think in general with anything, just be a good person and just be nice to people, because in business it's all about relationships. It's all about relationships, because a lot of times anybody can do what you're doing. Like, there's a bajillion makeup artists, but the reason why certain people get booked is for you, like your personality and your name and your reputation. So I think just doing things that give you a good reputation will take you far. Just being good.
You know what's so funny about me and Tony? When I was freelancing at Mac, were you full-time or part-time at Mac?
Oh, I started part-time.
Part-time.
And I worked my way to full-time.
So full-time.
Yeah.
I never got part-time nor full-time, which means like for me, that was a kind of early practice that I had to do was I wanted to make sure that everyone else liked me at Mac. So I did my job. I spoke Portuguese and Spanish and English, and we were all selling in Portuguese. And you wanted to get that promotion. I wanted to get the hours as a freelancer. Other than that, the Mac managers wouldn't have called me back if my other coworkers like Tony or the other third keys or managers would like me if I wasn't really doing my job to begin with. And I think that also just goes to show, like, when it becomes to being an influencer, you have to have relationships, like good relationships. And that's what I think Tony's really good at too. She's easy to talk to. She's logical. Sometimes it's good to be like ambitious, but within like reason. For sure. Too. It's like it's good to talk about the big goals, and I think that's why like Tony, like we do not do the same thing. Like I'm an influencer and she's a makeup artist, but we both like have ambitions, but we also talk about how to get there. So.
Yeah, I'm not one of those people that have the story where I moved to LA with $100 in my bank account, and that just wasn't me. I'm a Taurus. I like stability. I was like, I need to have a plan to move here, and my plan ended up working out. So, and I also prayed. I'm a Christian, so I prayed and I asked God, to guide my steps and give me signs. So, yeah, and I think too, also to like have friends too, because when it was Tony's birthday last year, like we all made her cry. Well, I made her cry, and then I was like, oh my god, and I know she's been wanting to like do something so big, but you didn't want to like leave your family. Yeah. So maybe someone else like that is watching at home could be like, oh my god, like I want to be an influencer. I want to be. You don't have to, but I think it's about knowing when it's the right time and the right place, and whether you're praying or asking advice from your parents, just knowing those like right things, like what's good for you will be meant for you. For sure. And I think either way, like whether you want to be a makeup artist, hairstylist, or an influencer or whatever it is, just be consistent in whatever you're doing. I think that's probably like the biggest thing, especially in the influencer world. Like you have to be consistent because out of sight, out of mind.
I noticed too, just being friends with Tony too, like understanding what type of learner you are. Yes. So I think understanding what type of social person you are. Are you better at text? Are you better at speaking? Are you better at reading? Are you better at writing? Are you better at attending classes? Like Tony is one. Like I learned, like being an influencer, there, like I said earlier in the video, there's no school, there's no university to understand what we do as influencers beside the journey of life. For her to be a makeup artist, she would be like, oh my god, I want to go to this class. I want to go to this class. I want to go to this workshop. This has this goodie bag, which means like, if I get this VIP seat, I can talk to them. And she was always so eager. We would go to the makeup show together. We would like go to conventions together. We would talk about new foundations or new launches together. And so I think it's just understanding too what type of learner you are so you can succeed the best. Because sometimes, like, for me, I hate reading. I hate, like, I've never read a full book, I think, in my entire life.
Oh, my gosh.
But I will succeed in different ways on how to learn, whether it's auditory or just kinesthetic as far as being that type of learning, meaning like your hands. So next question, like what are some fails that you've had or that you see? Like what are some turnoffs that you've seen in the industry when it comes to like personal branding? This video is more of like a personal branding video.
I just think that people that aren't genuine, like that people are trying to use you to get to like the next level. I think like with anything, whether it's a friendship or whether it's in business, it has to be mutually beneficial. Like everybody has to be happy. I think that when you're constantly giving to someone and it's not being like reciprocated, then that's an issue.
The best thing about life is because I know Tony off camera is that we both have had failed relationships. Yes. As far as friendships.
For sure.
And she's lost a best friend. I've lost a best friend. multiple best friends,
Multiple
but
friends.
but prior to YouTube too.
Mhm.
And I think that just goes to show, like, you start to grow and find out who you are and what you expect in a person as far as morals and ethics and goals and just ambition too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, sometimes you just outgrow relationships, and there's nothing wrong with that at all, you know? Because, like, what I wanted in a friend at 20 versus what I want in a friend now are two completely different things, you know?
right,
That's fine.
that's life.
Yeah, that's life. You just got to keep on moving. Can't take everybody to the top with you, you know? But they're all learning lessons, so.
What's one thing that you can tell everyone here on YouTube that they probably wouldn't know about me?
That they wouldn't know about you.
From your point of view.
That they wouldn't know? You share so much, but I know
don't
there's
think so.
I think you do.
I think on like the...
You're pretty much this, like, you're literally like the same that you show on YouTube. Like, you're the same.
Really?
Yeah. But I think probably what people may not know.
Or be surprised by.
I don't even know if they'd be surprised by it. You're such a good businesswoman. Like, I admire that about you. Like, you don't think about, like, right now, like, the decisions you make are always, like, for longevity. Like, you're always thinking ahead in the future, not, like, the right now. And I think that that's why you've been so successful, is because you think ahead.
Like you too. I think that's one thing that we found, like, okay, we want to do this, but how we gonna, like, you know, Tony would be like, Tony's very, okay, if I were to translate it, you're that, like, I want a full coverage foundation so I can shear it out and use it for my kid. You know, Tony's very, very that. And I think, you know, you gotta think about multi-purpose, multi-use. So.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I think a lot of people also are surprised that I'm, like, really, really chill in person. I'll just be bumming out at home.
Yeah.
And we'll just be watching YouTube together.
Yeah. I can't think of anything else.
You're like, you ain't that cute.
They already know you're a professional matcha, freaking matcha maker.
They do, because I mentioned it already.
His new addiction is Jamaican patties. Y'all
They're
send
not,
him help.
They're not new. I've been eating
Send him help, you guys.
I've been eating Jamaican patties since I was in elementary school. Literally.
Oh, gosh.
Y'all be mad that I'm not highlighting. So here we are with my highlighter. Look at that glow. So beautiful, but so natural. Spray. Alright, everyone, this is the finished look. I hope you guys love that chit chat. Get ready with me. It was super chitty, super chatty about the industry, about business, on my success and how to achieve it and apply it in your life. I hope you guys had a takeaway or two on how to start your career, whether it be an influencer, makeup artist, or whatever other career is out there for you in your destiny. So if you guys want to see more videos like this, give this video a thumbs up, tweet me, comment down below what you guys want to see next, and I hope to see you all in my next video. Bye!